Hello, and welcome to another episode of Deepen with Christina. I'm your host, Christina Weber, founder of WeDeepen. I believe your intimacy journey is your life story. And over the past decade, since I began working in this industry, when I say the industry, I mean the industry of love, dating, matchmaking, relationships, I have discovered love to be a trainable skill that you can master. And that is what We Deepen is about. So 10 years ago, I'm living in New York City. Tinder became the new hot thing. Right from the start, I hate dating apps. My friends did too. And because I love people, my thinking was let's put a bunch of dope people into a room, connect deeply, and we'll all live happily ever after. I ran this event for 2 years. I had a very specific structure. There's 20 men, 20 women. Each person filled out a questionnaire, 5 questions about themselves and 5 questions about their desired partner. I would read every single one of these survey responses. And then I would get on the phone with the person and I would talk through with them about the event, about their love life. I envision these calls would be 8 minutes. Sometimes I would be on the phone with people for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I mean, there is so much richness in your love life, and there is so much desire to share that story with another. I was hearing stories of heartbreak, broken expectations, challenges, anxieties, pressure. I was trying to solve my own problem. And in that, I realized many other people had a frustration or confusion around love too. So as I set out to search to help myself, to help all of these people that were showing up for my New York City quote unquote curated dating event, that's what I called it, a curated dating event. I stayed away from the word single. I did not want to label anyone single, and I did not want to be hosting a singles event. And so I set out to help them. And good thing, around this time when Tinder became popular, so did TED Talks. I started searching and watching every single one of them that had something to do about love and relationship. And then I started seeing that I wasn't the only one producing dating events. There were other people out there who were trying to solve this problem too. And then there were seminars and workshops, authentic relating, the art of nonviolent communication, respectful confrontation. There were seminars by Gay and Katie Hendricks, John Gray. Pat Allen used to host the first Monday monthly in Culver City. Eventually, I moved out to Los Angeles, and the events were happening both New York and LA. And Dr. Pat Allen, who wrote the book Getting to I Do, was bringing people together every Monday night the first Monday monthly in Culver City. And she would do these laser coaching programs. I'm like, why do people not know about this? So I discovered an entire industry. That's what was happening at the time, dedicated to healthy, loving relationships. At the time, also, ClassPass. ClassPass was really popular. I was one of the first people on ClassPass. I love a good group fitness class and entered a startup accelerator program. This is again now. So I've been running these dating events for a couple years, trying to solve my own problem. I felt like I was a bit on this hamster wheel where I would host an event. Like that was a big trek because I would always get 20 men, 20 women into a place. At the end of it, I'd be relieved. This event is over. And then somebody would be like, I want to come to the next one. And I would register them and then go out and find 39 other people to come and join that event. So I was on this hamster wheel, and when I stopped to figure out what is the solution to this challenge, and when I looked deeper at the challenge, it was, well, most people didn't grow up observing healthy relationships. The topic is nearly completely neglected in our educational curriculum. Where do people go to find love? And that's what I had discovered. The seminars, the teachers, the experiences. As I mentioned before, your intimacy journey is your life story. And I've discovered there's no one teacher, There is no one experience. There's no one modality. It is that you get to go and journey through them all. So WeDeepen, I eventually launched WeDeepen as what if we built ClassPass for the love and relationship industry. Pandemic blew it all up. It's taking off in Los Angeles. And fast forward now to this moment as being a resilient entrepreneur, unwilling to give up on this area of life that is the most tender and most important aspect of our existence. WeDeepen is becoming the platform, the go-to place for you to have a healthy, loving relationship. And in that journey, not only am I discovering the coaches, the systems, the frameworks, the people, but I've also been seeking and discovering the people, the brilliant minds who are going to help me build it. You know, they say that quotes that dream so big that you have to have people help you fulfill the dream. And that's what I've done. And right now, in this moment, today, it is July of 2026, and I'm here to share with you one of the humans, the brilliant minds that I've recruited over from the film industry to support in catalyzing WeDeepen to the next level. For the first time ever, I am bringing in a business partner. Dun, da, da, da. You know, I've been looking for this person, seeking who is the one to shepherd us to the next level. And René Besson showed up in my life about 6 months ago. And being a expert of film storytelling, let's say an expert in storytelling, an executive film producer, I started talking shop to him right away, which is pretty much, if you know me and you've been out on the road, I'm very mission focused. I would love to talk to you about how WeDeepen will grow and how WeDeepen can support you and how you can join it. It's my favorite topic. And Renee and I started riffing and giving me advice. I started sharing them all the content that we've captured. We have Allison Powers, who has been coming to every single WeDeepen Love Immersion since 2024 and recording the stories, the testimonials, the videos capturing these most beautiful moments. And um, we started bantering, and he was sharing his insight, and it was supporting and helping me. And there was one moment that Renee read a quote to me. And when he read that quote to me, it shifted everything for him and for me. Renee, welcome to WeDeepen and to your first episode of Deepen with Christina.
It's an honor. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
So let's backtrack to 6 months ago. We meet through friends. You had begun dating a new friend of mine, and we were socializing. And I think a leader recognizes a leader, and I'm starting talking shop to you right away. What do you think?
You know, it really was the thing where there's a story there. You know, there's a story of you. There's a story of We Deep, and there was an alignment that I have because many years ago, prior to getting full time in the film industry and producing and directing and doing all that stuff, I did work in the ad industry. So I did Olympics promotions. I worked with Coke and Sony and a whole bunch of other folks. So I still have that gene about how advertisements work and how resonant a story needs to be in order for you to follow in the journey of what that brand is trying to um, share with you. And you were sharing with me some of your testimonials and some of your video compilation work, showing love immersions and other events, and um, it started to really tinge with me as a storyteller. That was the first part of it, right? Um, because I was getting into a new relationship. It was really becoming quite a revelatory one because it's you look at all your past relationships and you start looking at, okay, is this part of a pattern? And this particular relationship is not part of a pattern. And then it's judged on its own unique, beautiful merits. And I was entering a new phase in that. And at the same time, I'd I'd done so much in my own industry that it became very much old hat, and I was looking for something that was very much connected with my why. And my quote unquote superpower can't really be directed into something that I'm not passionate about. I've explored things in the past. I just didn't resonate with anything. And I was always looking for something that was really profoundly connected to me. Um, in the film industry, the the thing that you have is that you're making something, you're telling a story, you're hoping that you have a theme and a lesson and something that can really connect to people's lives, and you're trying to do something a few years down the road, and it's a disconnected experience. You are creating something, people see it, but you're not there witnessing how it might change people or affect people. And then can they take something from that and use it in their life, right? Um, and and what I was craving was doing something meaningful where I could actually see what I create, what I curate, what I cultivate, affecting people in a way that's resonant and stays with them on a daily basis that can actually matter, right? And being where I am in my life cycle, I really want to spend I really want to spend my time on something that is like this. So as we were going back and forth about it, I was still trying to explore. I think we found a way that we found we could sniff around each other and we could sense that something was there, but we couldn't quite figure it out. Like we know there's something going on here. We're just trying to figure out how this we wanna because we just need to see what it is, right? And then it became, okay, really clearly what's Christina's skill set, her superpower, what's my superpower, right? And how can they be completely complementary to one another? But where's the where's the one thing, right? And in this exploration with you, you'd ask me a few questions about me. I'd ask you a few questions about you. And um, I then went back to the first time that my why was verbalized, crystallized in a quote by the film critic Roger Ebert. And um, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to read this quote because this was my why, and it'll completely be germane after you hear it. So I read this to you and I say, okay, here it is. We are all born with a certain package. We are who we are, where we were born, who we were born as, how we were raised. We're kind of stuck inside of that person. And the purpose of civilization and growth is to be able to reach out and empathize a little bit with other people. And for me, the movies are like a machine that generates empathy. It lets you understand a little bit more about different hopes, aspirations, dreams, and fears. It helps us to identify with the people who are sharing this journey with us. So, full credit, that's Roger Ebert from Life Itself. um, you immediately were inspired to say, what if you replace the word movies with We Deepen? Diamond bullet in the brain. Because for the first time in 50 years, right, was something so like connected to my soul. It just clicked right there when you said that. Um, the only other time that I can say that I had a moment like that was when I first discovered the path when I didn't know how to get into what I wanted to do, but I knew I was drawn to something, and then I went through a certain experience where the moment that experience occurred, I knew that, oh, this is what I need to do. I will die if I do not do this because this completely connects to my why, right? And I went and I lived. I was homeless for 3 months to study what I wanted to study, and just went all in and gave up everything in my life, going all in, and that's was the genesis of my film career, right? When you did that, a similar event occurred where everything that I've ever been through, I'd been through some traumatic events in my personal life, and had focused all of my professional powers into, a catastrophic thing that had happened in Puerto Rico where we had to overcome incredible adversity. And from that, I said, okay, I want to apply my superpower to something meaningful like this, but not in this, right? So when you said that, it all just boom came together just like that. And I think you probably noticed, like, immediately my activation went right through the roof. because I just like started, okay, let's dig in. What is this? What is that about the business? What is this about? Like, what are you trying to do? Okay, what is your, I just completely went all in to the point where I no longer am interested in doing that. I'm fully engaged in the mission of We Deepen, what it is. It's about loving yourself, to know how to communicate with others, to be able to love others through communication and intimacy. And this medicine is what I needed in my life and had to come to through a lot of pain, through a lot of trial and error. And one thing that, as I was discussing what this could be with someone, it was what came out of my mouth is, what would you do to have all that time back that you spent making these mistakes that you suffered through, and you can go through this process and not lose any more time, right? I immediately resonated with that. I said, this is the solution for everything you're going through so that we're not alone in this world.
It's so interesting that, or synchronistic, that you came from the film industry because we deepen pre-pandemic, it's 2019, 2020. I had gotten an offer as we deepen was blooming in Los Angeles. I got offered a half million for an acquisition for hire from a co-working space. They're not around anymore. The pandemic crushed them too, but it was called Cross Campus, and they had an office in Beverly Hills. Uh, and I ended up turning down the offer for an acquisition for hire because I was new on. I just started. I wasn't about to fold and go inside of their co-working space, but they had saw how WeWork had bought Meetup, and they thought if we buy We Deepen now, we'll get foot traffic because they'll do their events and then here, and then we can sell memberships.
Mhm.
Well, the office that I renegotiated for, so I put that aside, negotiated for an office, and the office was in Beverly Hills. It's actually in the former Death Row building. We took over Death Row's office, and I, on the rooftop, you look above like Los Angeles, Hollywood, and there's movie billboards. And I used to look at those movie billboards and dream that the experiences that we were representing through We Deepen, that they would be the billboards. And I would think of We Deepen in my mind as that you don't have to watch TV. You can live your life like a movie. And we're providing these experiences that actually create stories for you to be the main character in your own life story. And there's such richness in there. And then because Netflix, Netflix and chill, everybody, around that time, that was a popular tagline that people would say. And, especially in dating and love, like, let's Netflix and chill. And
Yeah.
I would think, Netflix and chill, we want to deepen and wake.
Mhm.
That's what we're doing, deepening and wakening.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you were the one being drawn to this because there is such a deep story there, and we're all going to go through our own hero's journey.
Mhm.
And to have the team, the allies who are committing themselves to growth first, because you're not going to come to a We Deepen experience unless you're willing to grow. I mean, I look at love. We celebrate love inside of We Deepen, and love is that process of removing layers of your ego, the fears, negativity, things that are holding you back from being the highest, greatest version of yourself, coupled with ever increasing acts of sharing.
Mhm.
So the stories from the participants, they're all main characters.
Yeah.
We had a business meeting yesterday with a branding expert, and he was asking the question around um, Uh, am I seeking to make this about the Christina Weber show, or is this about We Deepen? And for me, We Deepen is a place that we get to curate the top teachers, the experts. I believe these humans, like the Andy Lalas, Ariana Hall, Yosef Sagi, so many of them are the superstars. Like,
Mm,
they're the stars that are showing us the way that you are the star yourself,
mm,
and it's all within inside of you, and so they have accumulated the tools and the information and the wisdom to bring that to you, and like Peloton did with their instructors, we get to do that for those who are made it their life's work
mm,
to support you in love, and then also for you to realize this is your movie.
mhm.
You are the star of your own show.
There's a saying in the film business that, or in storytelling is that the villain believes they're the main character of their story. And what that's really about, if you extrapolate that to every one of us is living our life as if I remember I asked my mom, you know, when I was a kid, I was like, so when I leave the room, does just everything stop existing? Right? Because it's all around me. It's all around like my
So
right.
cute.
So it's really about you are everyone else in your life to you is a supporting character to your story, right? But in reality, everybody is the like you said, is the lead character of their story. And if you can meet people there, right? Because they're they're protecting their journey. And if you can identify with their journey, empathy is everything, right? Your journey is their journey is your journey. And once you accept that, right? Then you can build off of that. Be present with them. Understand when when someone's in pain and where that pain comes from and how not to be reactive to that pain, but to be receptive to that pain because at some point you have been or will be in that pain. So that's the key thing about this that you are on a journey. We're all sharing a great big human story together, right? And the journey of this, I see very much the journey of what you've done, what you created, where it is in its now iterative evolution of what your dream was and what it can give and what you can create that will last long past you, past me, right? Is the concept of this, right? That we will hopefully build to be, well, we will build to be, really the place to turn to for this resource that many people are seeking, but because they're all looking in different avenues, they don't feel good about any one place to feel safe to do it. And I think that's what we really offer in this. The magic of having experienced the love immersion myself now, the magic of the journey of that live experience, of that sense of community, that safe space with community where I could cry, talk about my mom's mortality, talk about my relationship, and not feel like anyone was judging me, not feel like everybody was listening and holding space for me. And if I needed tools, I was given tools to work with, right? And if I needed support, I had support there. And ongoing after that, these people are still there for me. And we continue to be there for each other as we need each other. And um, I, my really close friend said something real nice. It's like, what price would you put on not being alone, you know, in this world and not feeling alone? And if you're going to put something into not feeling alone, it's great when you can find your tribe. And I really feel that alignment with everyone who joins into this community that we're cultivating and building.
My intention for having you, Renee, on this podcast is to share a bit of the behind the scenes
Mhm.
because that is one of like this how I built this and the people involved are brilliant minds.
Mhm.
And oftentimes I think we think that we're alone in our journey for love and that it's not accepted in the corporate world. I'm reminded of a stat about productivity that I heard about when fantasy football
Mhm.
came into the office that productivity would go down during fantasy football time amongst the men in the office. And I think around dating, how that decreases productivity when people are searching for the one and they're swiping on dating apps and fatigued by that experience and drained. Or when you are navigating conflict with a significant other, going through a divorce, how that drains you inside the office. So we can all align on that as being truth, but yet people coming forward to make the effort and the time to invest in this area of life
Mhm.
is fairly new.
Yeah.
I was on a yacht with a bunch of billionaires last year, and uh, it was one of my former partner and I were invited as a we're guest on this ship, and there was one gentleman who was in his 70s, very successful man, but he had just gotten stood up for the very first time in his life, and I had asked him, did this woman that he was engaging with, who didn't show up on the yacht with him, if she had ever studied love? And he laughed and he said, "No, no, of course not. Like, she didn't study love or relationships." And I asked him, "Well, have you ever studied love?" And he giggled and he said, "I live love." I said, "Well, have you ever studied business?" And he smirked. And I was like, "Yeah, if you want to be successful in love, why would you not think to study love as well?" And I could sense the light bulb in his mind went off. And these types of people, I have a fantasy. I had this imagination of like, one day we're going to have this huge conference room full of brilliant minds who are all signing up to be advisors of WeDeepen to support us in growing this business and the love movement. But we're gonna get them in the door because they're gonna believe that they're helping the business, and then they're gonna find out that this is actually for them, which they know. I think they know, but that's the way to get them in to say yes. And with the team and the people around, from even the members themselves, to see them come forward and, uh be open to investing in WeDeepen. We are in a fundraising right now and launching new product offerings. Super exciting. And it's the people that are surrounding us that are willing to give us their time, their energy, their advice, their money to support in seeing this mission grow.
Yeah, look, like I said, my superpower didn't activate until I felt passionate about something. These are our advisory boards and kind of the people that have been naturally drawn to this, um, have been drawn to this for similar reasons. Or we're all seeking something. There's something in us, like no matter how accomplished you are, no matter how much domain expertise you have in anything, you still have this very human part of you, right? And we're all connected in that same way. And they see that this is something that's really needed, viable, authentic, right? They're like, how can we? And coming into this, into a partnership with you, and then you sharing with me who all these folks have been, I'm like, oh wow. I'm not like coming in to like reinvent something. There's a lot of support. Now it's okay. Now we can kind of build an infrastructure around it, build an operation about it, like build it up as a business so that we can provide more, we can connect more, we can expand the reach of it, right? Because anyone who's experienced this, whether it was when you were in its proto stage in New York, and then it's in its kind of beta stage in Los Angeles, and then in kind of where we've been, which is like almost this beautiful incubator of people experiencing these live events, um, and there's so much goodwill and people wanting to make this happen because of what they've experienced through it, that this is the perfect time and place. Everything is timing. You see all these things kind of align, and things had misaligned before and all that. There was a reason it all kind of clicked at this specific moment in time, where technology is helping us be able to get this out there, to be able to make it reachable for people. When people seek it, they can find it, and we can help find them and bring this to them. That all of the intersection of human interest, technology, what you've built, have now created this perfect storm for us to grow this. And when I say grow this, I'm, I've built businesses before, and the one thing you have to do is really honor the magic that you've created. And there's a magic in this that, in speaking to some of the people in this, they're like, we want to make sure that the magic of what people have been getting from this is protected. And that's why we've spoken to other potential people that have wanted to come into this, but if we lose the ethos, the magic of this, then people are going to feel this, and it'll kind of corrupt the medicine that this is for people. So we're trying to protect that, reinforce it, and be able to distribute it in a really wonderful and nourishing way. That's where the business opportunity lies. But it's like, it's the kind of stuff that sells itself at the end of the day, because we all really want this. We all really need this.
We all do really want
Yeah.
this and need this.
Yeah.
Renee, on this podcast, I have recently started to invite guests into a game of truth or dare. Before we jump into that, I really want to hear the story from you of the last time we played truth or dare together. Because just a couple nights ago, we gathered at my home with some members inside of the Love Club
Mm-hmm.
and yourself and your partner included. And I gave you a really good dare. So, my truth/dare in this moment is for you to, I dare you.
Oh, you're outing me. Yeah.
I dare you to act like a dom
Uh-huh.
and like a boss, like
Mm-hmm.
a, 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 a stern leader,
Mm-hmm.
and to dom the audience, the listeners, into giving their time, attention, and money to WeDeepen.
Mm. 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 Okay. You need We Deepen. You crave We Deepen. Don't lie to yourself. This is what you want. We will give you what you need. You'll support We Deepen because We Deepen supports you. By hearing what you need, we give you what you crave. Come to We Deepen. You will enjoy this. Invest in this. Be freed by this. This will be a pleasure for you. We are We Deepen.
So hot. Yes. Saturday night, we gathered, and Renee got the dare to go around the room and convince everybody in the space of why they're going to continue to support WeDeepen. It was brilliant. So much fun. Thank you for sharing that with the group. I'll give you a truth.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me any question.
Ooh. Um, I will give you the same question that someone gave me. Where's the most unusual place you've had sex?
Where is the most unusual place I had sex? The Arizona State Library. Middle of the day, 19 years old, behind, the library was open, and we went behind a bookshelf and had sex right there.
Wow. Wow.
Also, Sedona. I did it in a river in Sedona, but I think the more unusual place are behind my parents' house after the hot tub, getting out and rolling on their grounds, and the neighbors are, have their big houses around, and that was an exciting spot. But I think this Arizona library wins it.
But I have to ask because you're, like, completely aware there being so many people, and it's a weird place to do it, and it's a library and all that, and you're trying to stay quiet because it's so quiet in the library that any little, like, breath or anything like that, were you so aware that neither one of you could reach orgasm?
I wasn't 19. I was 16, actually. So
Whoops.
I'm pretty sure 16 and 17, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So at that point, I have just discovered orgasms for the very first time.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I could orgasm anywhere
Right.
at that moment in time. Uh, and obviously, we're two horny teenagers. So we needed to get off after discovering sex for the very first time.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah, there's pleasure in that.
Yeah, there was presence in that. You were in the moment.
We're
Completely
totally
in the
in the
moment.
moment,
Yeah.
totally horny children.
Wow. Well, honestly, that's kind of the one thing I wanted to note about what these experiences give you, is it gives you a certain capacity in this very busy and noisy and crowded and insane and anxiety-filled world to attune and to be present, to feel into yourself and be fully in the moment. That is something that we're all trying to achieve by trying to reduce our notifications, reduce the noise, and in being present, you can really connect with another human being. And that in what we've been doing, the exercises and the connection, and then you build off of that. And very similar like when you do meditating, where you're tuning everything out, you're going through a guided meditation, you're turning off all the noise around you, and then you go into an open forum discussion, and then you can really advance conversations and connections between people. I think that's really beautiful, and it's completely an example of of what our curriculum is. Whether it's a boot camp weekend event or a love immersion or, any number of these kind of really exciting offerings that we have in the pipeline that we can't announce quite yet, but are going to be pretty amazing and really provide people access to the tools to learn how to love and to be authentic.
Thank you so much, Renee, for believing in me, for seeing the vision of WeDeepen, and for being willing to jump in and invest your time, energy, life force into blowing this up and WeDeepen as a household name.
Well, thank you for seeing how where my why was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And understanding that. So we can build something really beautiful out of this.
Now, I know you say you're not announcing the dates or where they can meet us. However, there are biohacking love coming up and a love immersion and potentially a really fun, amazing New Year's Eve party. But a love immersion, first and foremost, definitely come and check that out. And a biohacking love event is where you can get a sample, a little taste of what it would be like to be at a love immersion and to join us inside of the Love Club. Because Renee and I, we love bantering with each other. We love even more is being in the room with you. So come play with us. Thank you, Renee, for being on your first episode of Deepen with Christina and for coming and sharing the story. It's a vulnerable. I'll say having you as a guest here, and I keep asking like, is it okay that we're announcing to everybody that you're part of this team and there's like an officiating? It's almost when you get into a new relationship and you're like, am I really going to tell people this is my girlfriend or my boyfriend? Like, is this real? And so there's a level of vulnerability in that of saying like, this is real. Even too, we just had a new community manager events uh, coordinator say yes to a position and accept an offer. And there's a vulnerability. I'm like, can I tell people that she is the one, that she has joined
Well, here's what I'm honored about. I know we have to kind of wrap up here, but what I'm really honored about is that we are now in a not a relationship. We are now in a
We are in a
partnership. We are in a
relationship.
relationship,
Yeah.
and it's basically that you've been courted by and courted other potential partners before in this, right? And ultimately, this is the like you're it's a big deal to enter into an actual partnership with somebody, right? And before we started this, we asked, what's your value set? How do you handle conflict? Like, we, as a framework for this, put a focus on relationship with each other so that if we ever misunderstood each other, we would find ways to communicate, and not misinterpret one another, right? And to honor and respect each other's strength where it is. Um, Likewise, when I came to meet all these beautiful people that support you, I felt like the new boyfriend being introduced to the friend group and overcompensating and overselling myself and over like how much I care about her and the mission and all this and everything that we're doing because I just want everybody to like me because I love this so much, and it's the same thing as like, when you've you've fallen in love with somebody and you want family and friends to love you, right? Because you want to go all in, you want to put everything that you have into it. And I would be very sad if I like fell in love with you in this and then all of a sudden it just wasn't compatible, right? And for you to then decide that I'm the one that is most compatible and that you feel like you're right with means a lot to me. So uh just know that about this that I'm saying publicly. Yeah.
Human beings are so cute. You're so adorable because both of us are, feeling the tenderness and the vulnerability around jumping into a partnership and also investing our time and energy. And, on the other side, I'm like, I hope he just doesn't walk away. I hope I don't, we don't not move fast enough or not grow fast enough. That he's like, I got to get out of here. I got to go, you know, take care of myself. And, but we're doing it. We're doing it into
We're being intentional.
the early
To use the language, we're being intentional.
intentional,
Yeah.
and the excitement. I have been so, more enlivened. This is what energy does because we're all energy beings, and so when you come and you join somebody in, I start my mornings off now even more excited that you're around, and my day too of I wanna keep going and keep working on this because now the team, you come and unite and you empower each other.
Mm,
That's what true empowerment is like joining forces and creating influence together, and that's real legacy
mm.
out in the world.
My partner's tracking the time commitment. It's like, okay, I want.
That's cute. Good for her, she
Yeah,
should.
exactly.
I'm happy to play in that role with her too.
Yes, she's amazing. Yes.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Renee.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Mm.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Deepen with Christina. If you enjoy this podcast, please do rate, subscribe, give it 5 stars. It helps more people find it. And again, come be with us in person. Until next time, enjoy.